And so I text my doctor. I'm like, hey, buddy, weird thing going on past couple days. Here's what's going on. He calls me right away. He's like, hey, this could be really serious. Talk to me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Chris Harder Show, where today I am grateful for the health that I have. Now, you know, whenever I do a solo episode, I always start with gratitude. And that's my goal, is to help you pause once in a while and take inventory of what you're grateful for, because I'm a big believer that you can only truly have what you stop to take inventory of. And in our busy lives, you know, we don't often enough stop and take inventory of what we're grateful for. So today I'm grateful for the health that I do have. But today's episode is related to that, and you'll see why I'm grateful for the health that I have. Because I had a stroke. I had a stroke, and I am 50% blind in my right eye. Now, I'm sure you got a lot of questions right now. I had a lot of questions at first. I never expected to be a 46-year-old stroke victim, especially with how healthy I am and how much time and money and effort I spend on my health. But I did it to myself. And that's why I want to record this episode, so that anybody out there that has a personality like mine, hard-driven, super motivated, incredibly high standards, and also an addictive personality, and also one of these personalities that thinks if one is good, two is better, then this is a warning to you. And it's got some very positive outcomes, by the way. So hang on with me throughout this episode. But I wanted to record this just if I can help anybody else avoid going through what I had to go through recently, then that alone is worth it. So let me give you the backstory. About 10 weeks ago, Lori and I had just gotten back from our anniversary trip in Mexico and landed on a Monday evening, went to bed that night. And when I woke up the next day, Tuesday morning, my right eye was really blurry. As a matter of fact, it was really blurry and had like a bunch of very dirty fog in front of it. Now, I didn't think much about it. I tried to wipe the sleep out of my eyes, the way that when you wake up, you try to wipe the sleep out of your eyes. I'm like, weird, the sleep isn't wiping out of my eyes. So I go downstairs and I pour my coffee, and it's not any better. And it's kind of bothering me. Even feels like a little bit of pressure behind it. But the problem is, I'm not the guy that goes rushing off to the doctor. I'm the opposite. Even though I have a great concierge doctor, literally available via text 24 hours a day, I'm not the guy that really thinks there's anything wrong with me ever. I'm the guy that thinks, everything will work itself out. So that's what I thought. I thought, oh, well, not sure what this is. Not a big deal. Little blurry vision. It'll work itself out. Maybe after I have my first couple of coffees. So I have a coffee, and then I have another one, and I get ready for the day. I go to work out. I do all the things. And it's not getting any better. And it's really annoying because, again, I want to describe it. It's like looking through, if you've ever lived in winter and everything's dirty and slushy and kind of brown, that's what looking through my right eye was like. And so by the end of the day, I said, this is kind of weird. If I wake up tomorrow and it's not any better, then I'll call my doctor. So I woke up the next day, Wednesday, and it was a little bit better. Instead of it being a dirty brown fog I was looking through, it was a light white, thick fog that I was looking through, almost as if you fogged out your bathroom window for privacy. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you use that white kind of opaque tint or foam in order to fog out a bathroom window for privacy. That's what it was like looking through my right eye. And it wasn't the whole eye. It was like a little bit more than half of it. All of my peripheral vision, but a clear spot in the middle. So I'm like, oh, see, there we go. It improved itself. I'm sure it's going to be fine by the end of the day or tomorrow. So I went about my day Wednesday, and it didn't get any better. It was very annoying having to look through that, but at least it got a little better from the day before. And I went to bed saying, well, if it gets better tomorrow, then I'm going to be encouraged. And if it doesn't get better tomorrow, then I'll call my doctor. So I woke up Thursday morning, and it was not improved at all. If anything, it maybe felt like it took a little baby step backwards, but it was definitely the same. Looking through that white, fogged out privacy window on my right eye. And so I text my doctor. I'm like, hey, buddy, weird thing going on past couple days. Here's what's going on. He calls me right away. He's like, hey, this could be really serious. Talk to me. And he started asking me a bunch of questions about it. He said, this could be a stroke. This could be this. And I'm like, it's not a stroke, bro. I'm 46 years old. I'm healthy. That doesn't happen to guys like me. And sure enough, long story short, he rushed me into a couple of doctors here. I was at my Newport Beach home at the time. We were quickly able to figure out that I had a stroke in my sleep Monday night in my right optic nerve. Now, you're probably wondering, where'd the stroke come from? How'd this happen to somebody like me? To answer this, you'd have to first know me and understand my personality. And it's fun, and it's funny, and it's endearing, and it's what drives me, and it's also what got me into trouble. And that is, I really do have this mentality that if one is good, two must be better. And boy, I bet three is spectacular. I have this weird personality where I think that when somebody prescribes something to you, or when somebody gives you a goal, you think that's for the average person. Like they're always prescribing it to the lowest common denominator. Well, if that guy needs one, I need two. Well, if that person can do two, I probably have to strive for four. And that's just how I'm built. And it's always been how I'm built. So unfortunately, the way that translates in real life is I was once addicted to aspirin. I know, really funny thing to be addicted to, but it was years ago when I was lifting really hard and sore all the time. And I thought, well, if it says here that 2 is good, 4 must be better. And then that turned into, 8 throughout the day, turned into 12 throughout the day, turned into 16. No joke. Different story. And I had to quit that cold turkey. But that gives you insight into 2 things: my addictive personality and this mentality of if 1 is good, 2 must be better. So here's what caused the stroke. Back in July, call it early to midsummer, just a few weeks from flipping the on button on our new app, Frello, which was a peer-to-peer lending app, some brand new regulatory issues popped up in the industry, and the CFPB sued the only other company out there doing what we were about to do. And they sued them into oblivion. They said, we know you're not a lender, but you kind of look like a lender, you kind of smell like a lender, you're kind of acting like a lender, and at the end of the day, some loans are made, so we're just going to classify you as a lender. And because we're classifying you as a lender, not only can you not do this anymore, but on top of that, we're going to sue you for the $1.5 million loans that you've done. In other words, you have $1.5 million infractions of truth in lending and all these other things. And when that happened, I went from having $2 million sunk into an app that we were about to flip the on button to in just a few weeks, to all of a sudden having no more company, no more business model anymore. Now, good news. We have the best pivot and the best business model and the best use of the platform that we built ever right now. And I'll tell you about that in a separate episode. I'll record that one in the next episode here. I'm so freaking excited about it. But this means during July, August, September, and much of October, I was scrambling to save this company. I was scrambling to figure out what in the world are we going to do with this $2 million app that we just built if we can't do peer-to-peer lending in the form that we wanted to do it with. And my life became nothing but calls with regulators, calls with attorneys, calls with mentors, over and over and over for every single waking moment. I mean, the busiest I have ever been in my life for July, August, September, and most of October, trying to figure out how to salvage this, trying to figure out this pivot. Well, the stress of that made me stop sleeping at night. And I'm a guy that, if you know me, sleeping is my superpower. So I'm not used to not sleeping, and I'm certainly not used to waking up after tossing and turning all night, laying awake with feeling like the world's ending, can't come up with a solution to this thing. And so I'd get out of bed at maybe 6 o'clock every morning, completely exhausted from not sleeping. So this began, I might as well have 2 coffees instead of 1 because I'm so tired. And it also meant, I'm going to have a couple of these energy shots throughout the morning instead of just 1, like I was used to having before my workout. And that turned into, speaking of my workout, I'm going to take 2 scoops of this pre-workout so I feel good enough to go work out because I'm so tired instead of just 1. You see where this is going, right? And 1 became 2, became 4, became 8. And before you know it, it was this weird slow creep that because I wasn't sleeping, in order to be amped enough during the day to have all these meetings, to feel sharp, to be there for my clients, to do all the things that I'm doing in life, I was taking maybe 3 to 4 coffees a day throughout the day. I was taking, now you're supposed to have like 1 or 2 of these energy shots a day max. I was taking 6 to 8 of them a day, like literally 1 before each call for my 8 or 10 meetings I would have for the day. I know it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud now, but at the time seemed like a good solution. I take testosterone. I'm on testosterone therapy, and I was taking twice the testosterone that was prescribed to me because when I would insert, when I'd shoot it into my body, I'd feel that much better for the next couple of days. So if 1 is good, 2 must be better, right? And so I was abusing my prescription testosterone. I was taking every single stimulant I could get my hands on in order to get through the days and feel amped and feel sharp enough, even though I wasn't sleeping, because damn it, I was going to solve this problem of what's our pivot going to be come hell or high water. Now, what happens when you take too much caffeine and too many stimulants? It starts to shrink or tighten or restrict, I should say, your veins and your capillaries and all of this stuff. And when you take too much testosterone, you develop too many red blood cells, which makes your blood really thick. And that Monday night when I went to bed, I had taken so much of everything over a long period of time that the blood flow through my capillaries or veins or whatever goes to my optic nerve became completely restricted in my sleep. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but a stroke is when there's absolutely no blood flow to a certain part of your brain, and your optic nerve is part of your brain. And that's what caused the stroke. Too thick of blood, couldn't get through the, zero passageway of these restricted veins and capillaries. And it caused a stroke in my optic nerve. Now, it was in my sleep. I didn't know it was happening. Remember, I woke up the next day with the blurred vision. And it is so fortunate. I am so fortunate that it didn't go any further into my brain. My optic neurologist, one of the best in California, she said, "You're just lucky." And now I like to joke around that this is my stroke of luck. You're just lucky that it didn't go to your brain. It could have. There's no reason it couldn't have. It just happened to stop in your optic nerve and cause this permanent damage to your right eye. And so when you hear this, you might think, oh my God, number 1, I can't believe you do that to yourself. Number 2, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. But from my perspective, it's, oh my God, am I freaking lucky? Am I ever fortunate? And I'll tell you, when you get past the what the hell happened / angry at everybody who is less healthy than you, should have happened to you, not a guy like me, because that's a real phase you go through. When you get past all that stuff, on the other side is the richest appreciation for life that you could ever imagine. Even though it's annoying to look out of my eyes, because this is permanent. One eye is blurry, the other one's clear. And it's ruined my ability to read. I can't pick up a book and really read anymore. So there's some real damage there, and it sucks, and it's annoying. But that being said, I wake up every day, and to me, it's a reminder of how lucky I am. No joke. These are not just some sugar-coated lenses that I'm sharing with you here. This is the real deal. You feel so fortunate when you stop short of something that could have been a real stroke, because you've seen real stroke victims, like how bad it can turn out for them. And the other positive that came out of it was this immediate eye-opening, no pun intended, realization around making sure I'm compliant with things that you can put in your body for energy, for stimulation. It immediately, as a matter of fact, as my neurologist told me, she said, yeah, it sucks that you're 50% blind in one eye, but at least it's a permanent reminder every time that you get that urge to think, if one is good, two is better. And she's right. There's a wonderful, compliant way that you can move through life, taking all of the things that'll give you an advantage in life. And it's a privilege having access to them, but not if you're going to abuse them because you're tired or because you're stressed or because you're whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot to add the stress, obviously, was the third big ingredient to this. I left that part of the story. So my message to you is, if you're going through any type of stressful time, make sure that you do a better job of taking care of yourself as you navigate that very difficult time. Looking back, number one, I should have abused all these things. But number two, I should have asked for help a little bit better. I should have said, hey, doc, here's what's going on, not sleeping. What are some things I could do? And they're obvious things that I do now. I could have started meditating more. I could have started doing more visualizations to reduce stress. I could have done all these small, simple to do daily things that I'm doing now to be a more well-rounded entrepreneur than just burning the bridges at both ends using any shortcut that I can get my hands on. Because when you do, it leaves some real lasting, permanent damage. So hopefully it's a wake-up call for you or someone you love or someone you care about. I'll tell you, I'm no less motivated than I've ever been. And I'm no less effective than I've ever been. As a matter of fact, you want to hear the crazy, ironic thing? I had to quit all that stuff cold turkey at first while we figured out what happened to me. And, obviously I can still have a cup of coffee in the morning. Obviously I can still take testosterone when taken compliantly. I can still do these things, right? But I had to quit everything cold turkey while we figured out what was going on and what the new plan was going to be. And when I did that, within just a few days, I started sleeping like a baby again. And what I realized was, yeah, I probably wasn't sleeping from stress, but the bulk majority of my lack of sleep was the anxiety created from all the stimulants and caffeine and everything I took throughout the day. I mean, looking back now, I can see I was edgy, I was snappy, I was irritated, I was, just constantly amped up all the time. And of course you can't sleep when that's what you got pumping through your system. And so the great irony is I didn't need all those things. I thought I needed those things. What I needed was to get, the bulk majority of those things out of my system so that I could sleep, so I could meditate, so I could do these other things. So anyhow, surprise, that's what's been going on with me the past 10 weeks. Never been more motivated than ever, never been more effective than ever, never been more excited than ever. So none of this is a bad thing. I mean, listen, if a little bit of blindness in my right eye is all I have to endure in order to, number one, take care of myself, take care of my loved ones, but more importantly, be able to use this as a platform to stop this from happening to anybody else, because to somebody else, it could have been a lot more serious. To me, it could have been a lot more serious. If a little bit of blindness in the right eye is what it takes for me to use it as a platform, let's go. Let's go. No problem. I will happily teach and share from that place of gratitude, and teach and share from that place of take care of yourself, and teach and share that you don't have to reduce your goals. And yeah, you're going to have your share of tough times and headwinds, but you can navigate them as a more well-rounded entrepreneur. Thanks for listening, guys. Share this with somebody you love, and feel free to DM me any questions that you have. Always appreciate you listening. Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.